Alright guys, welcome to the Eastgate Mall in Cincinnati. Let's go inside and let's go check it out. Hello everybody and welcome to the Eastgate Mall here in Cincinnati, Ohio. This was truly a treat, and not only because the architecture of this mall made it the favorite for my entire trip, but also to see this mall full of life, as I had no idea when I ended up getting here that there would be this massive sports card show here. You know, I've been seeing videos of this mall. I have friends of mine who said this mall was really, really dead. And while occupancy is not looking very good, except for the food court, as you guys see, the food court's full. But especially in the middle of the mall, a lot of tenants have left. But to see this place so busy and with the sports card event, and I didn't even support it. There was a cool thing that I got from one of the vendors, and it really made it even cooler. Now, on the downside, it means that this video isn't quite as good as maybe I would have liked. I still show everything, and I get plenty of still shots, but I had to move around a little with the camera because there was just so many people here. But strangely, I don't even complain about that because I would rather see that with a mall like this. I don't want to see this mall close. I could have spent hours in this mall just sitting here staring at the beautiful neon or the center court or the food court. But of course, we had a full 4-day trip. Although I did spend, I believe, an hour and a half to 2 hours here between the footage and just enjoying my time. But anyway, on to the history of this mall. This mall opened up officially in 1980, although in construction was talked about as starting as soon as 1974. But there were some issues with opening. And when the mall first opened in 1980, there was 2 original anchors, J.C. Penney and Sears. And the mall also featured 90 other tenants and space for 2 additional department stores. So that's kind of unique, where they built the mall and they had these 2 anchor pads but didn't have any anchors for it. I don't know if maybe because Cincinnati was over-malled, which it was. I mean, I went to a bunch of malls on this trip in Cincinnati, 4 in particular, but there was at least 2 or 3 other ones that I know of that are already closed, and I'm sure there's more from decades ago. So that probably contributed, but still, it's rare to see them open up a mall and have built-in anchor pads, but don't have a spot for them yet. Now, they would later get filled, as in 1992, a McAlphin's, if I said that right, it would open, and that would become Dillard's 6 years later. And then in 1985, the 4th anchor pad, that would become a Kohl's. So an older Kohl's. Now, there isn't much history on this mall when it relates to the interior, if there was any remodels or renovations. What I can say is that when the mall was first built, it was built by the Jacobs, Skiddy, and Jacobs Corporation, and now it is officially owned by the Hall Property Group. Now, I have mixed feelings about that because if you all know the history of the Hall Property Groups, you would know that they tend to blandify their malls. They tend to put formal storefronts and put ugly walls or put vending machines, or I've seen it in many malls across the country, one of them to be known as the Charleston Town Center. But so far, they haven't done anything yet to this mall to really dull it. But only time will tell, and that's why I'm glad I made it here when I did, so that if there is any changes, I'm glad I was able to see this for myself and put this on video of the mall in its glorified state, at least for people like me in this dead mall phenomenon. Well, I wouldn't say just dead malls, but malls in general, because this mall I don't consider dead yet. This event proves that this mall still has a pulse, and with having 3 of its 4 anchors still filled, and we will get to that in a second, it does have a chance to survive for many years to come. Now, there was, some interesting changes to its anchors when it came to the mid-2000s, as Dillard's, which was a full-line store at this point, as I mentioned in my Dillard's video, that was downgraded to a clearance center and was reduced to just 1 floor, like I mentioned. Why they did that, I talked about it, it's usually because a lease is up and it's about to close, but it may not be the case at this location. Dillard's doesn't have a ton of locations in Cincinnati, and to me, if they were trying to write out a lease, why would they have done that, in 2015, and we're now in 2025, and they still haven't closed yet? I don't know. If anybody, wants to comment down below if they worked at the Dillards or know anybody, see what their plans are. I'm very intrigued. And I wish that they would use the mall entrance door, but probably not going to happen. Now, in 2019, officially on December 15th, Sears closed for the final time, as this was the final Sears to close here in the Cincinnati area. That was kind of sad and noticeable, and I wish I could have seen the Sears when it was open, but never had a chance to get down here, as this is quite far from me. Now, with that, Kroger did buy the Sears space in 2021, but as of this moment, they haven't done anything to it. I don't know if their plans are to later open up a store. I do know that it's been talked about, but who knows? I mean, they own this building. You would think that they want to fill it with something, even if it wasn't like a store. They would want to put like a warehouse or a fulfillment center or something, because they're paying this building and doing nothing. But I don't want to speculate because I don't know what's going to happen with that. But I will say that if it did end up killing a Kroger, that would be really good news. And that would mean that all 4 anchors for now, it would be filled again. But we'll see what happens. If there's any history that you guys know of, feel free to comment down below. And like I've mentioned for my videos lately, if you have any memories of this mall or any, other experiences, feel free to comment. I do look at all the comments. I apologize that it takes me a few days or maybe a week to look at it, but I do promise I look at all the comments. And I do appreciate you guys commenting on my videos. So long as it's not mean, and if it is mean, and I just get rid of it anyway, so it's kind of useless for you guys to do that. But 99.9% of you do not do that, and I do appreciate you all. I've been enjoying, putting these videos together for you guys, and as well, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you all, and I do want to thank you for that. But in any event here, enough of me blabbing here. If you guys probably don't want to hear my voice anymore, and I'm starting to get tired myself. But for now, guys, I'm going to sign off, and I will talk to you guys later. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the video when I put music in. Live from the Eastgate Mall, Alex Weinsheimer's out, and I will talk to you guys real soon. Bye-bye, guys.